Okay, so good morning all, and this session is intended to help those who want to either do some training or simulation in UMass on the production system. It's tricky getting a test system for each U3A, so this actually allows you to do a number of things to simulate the normal day-to-day activities that you might be querying. So we'll go through and have a look at how that's going to happen. I'm going to start off with just a reminder about how the password levels work, the admin password and member password. So look at that. And then the principles of what we want to do today in terms of setting the system up so that we can actually create a training or testing environment. And then we'll look at a couple of scenario tests, but that by no means these are the extent of what you can do. And for those brave administrators out there who want to feel as though or want to actually look at how you can set up an out of sequence member number, whether you use it for testing or for other purposes, I can go through that, but it is for the brave, not for the faint-hearted. Okay. So in the user manual, the admin manual, I should say, there are a number of 2 pages that list what each level of security access can do. So the top level is administrator password, and sometimes it's just abbreviated to admin, the admin level. So Chris in, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I haven't copied them all out, but if you, like I, want to go and look at whether a particular level can achieve certain things, the definition in the detail that's in this list is probably not adequate for a lot of situations. So that is when you might want to do what I'm trying to achieve today, set up a scenario where you can go in and masquerade as a person with that particular security access level, see what they can do, and then give that level to someone else with the confidence that they can do what they need to do. And I'm assuming if anybody doesn't know where the admin level, the admin manual is, if you are in UMass, logged into UMass as an administrator or as tier 1, then down the bottom right, there's a question mark. And that question mark says help, and that opens up the most recent admin manual. Now, the admin manual isn't a brilliantly written manual in terms of, hey, this will tell you how to do things. It is literally a manual that describes the functions that are available in the system. So there's other manuals around that tell you how to actually achieve a certain outcome, but this is not really it. Okay, so let's do just a little bit of a reminder. Every member in the system has a member password. Now, it doesn't matter whether you are a admin person, you're a level 1, you're a level 2, you're a level 3, or you're a level 0, you have a admin password. You have a member password. That password will also give you access to certain functions according to the access security level set in your member details screen. So down the bottom of your member details screen, there is a list of the 8 functions, and you will be allocated one of those. Each person has one of those levels. If you are an admin person, then your admin password will override your member password. So if you normally log in with your admin password and you want to simulate somebody in using your particular details, simulating, say, someone with access level 3, what can they do? Then you need to go in and log in with that member password to achieve that outcome, or the admin password will just override it and give you all the functions. So when you log in with an admin menu, you get some additional functions. So you get the system settings, database control, and miscellaneous settings. Those 3 settings in the menu give you, just get Peter Griggin. Those three settings give you access to those functions that nobody else gets. Only admin gets that. Now, the principles of what I'm trying to achieve today is around using UMass as a test system to establish a number of dummy member accounts as well as dummy courses. And using these, we can actually then use these to simulate certain situations that occur. They may not be related to access levels. They may be related to other things like how do I manage my wait lists? I'm not too sure whether if I tick this particular box in system settings, will the wait list do what I think it's going to do? You can simulate that in this environment before you actually go live to everyone. So setting up dummy member accounts. There's a couple of ways you can do this. The easiest way is simply to go and create a brand new member. Add a member, or if you're not logged in or logged in, then it's add member or enroll as a new member. Create a new member, and I'd suggest that you use obviously dummy data. So people that I've been working with will know very well Donald Duck is alive and well. He's probably on every system that I've helped work with. But I know Robin uses Jiminy Cricket a fair bit, and there's probably others. We've all got our favourites. So it's pretty obvious that if you stumble across this particular member, it's probably not a real member. And so I don't need to worry about it. Make them obvious so that they're not a real member. Another way you can do it is that you could probably identify in the surname of each of these dummy members something that is unique, something like a test. So in my case, and I didn't introduce myself at the beginning, sorry about that, Kevin Whelan, for those who I haven't met. In my case, if I wanted to make a dummy member out of my name, I could call it Test Whelan and have the two names together. The value of doing that is that if you want to create a few of these members, and you've got to remember who they are, it's easy to go into your search function and just do a search on surname for test, and you'll find them. Now, I have done exactly that. However, I did get caught the other day because I found a member came up, didn't have a surname Test in it, but I didn't tick the surname on the search option, and I had a member who was in Teston Street came up. So a little bit of a trope. They can all get caught. But anyway, but if you click the surname, then you will get Test, and it just comes up, and that's fine. So that's a good way to do it. Put in, make sure you put in things like dummy addresses, phone numbers, and emails. I'd suggest you set a secure password. It would be tempting to set just a basic password because this is a dummy member and who cares if the person logs in. But if you're going to simulate this member as, say, having a level 1 access and you've got a weak password, then in theory, somebody could break in. Once they've got level 1 access, they've got access to all the members in the system. So I know it's tempting to just set an easy one, but I'd suggest you set a secure password. Now, a bit of a trick also is that if you've got a secure password and you've got 4 or 5 of these members, then there's probably no reason why they couldn't all be set the same password. Okay, that would make your life a little bit easier in trying to remember all these passwords for different members. You may well want, if you're setting up several of these people, to actually make one a tutor. So you can have one as your dummy tutor. But normally these members would be not active. The reasoning for that is that you would not want to automatically want to inflate your member numbers. So if this particular test member becomes active, I'd suggest you then go and make them a not active member after the test, just so that you don't then, your president doesn't think that, hey, membership is growing exponentially because you're putting in test members. Oops. Okay. Dummy courses, similar to the dummy members, you want to make the course that is pretty obvious that it's not a genuine course in case a member does come across it or stumble across it. You would want to set a code, something like, I've got suggestions such as 20 for the year, which is fairly standard across the system, but then just make it ZZZ or ZZZ01, ZZ02, whatever you want. And then you will be able to sort of put them all together. They'll all list together in your list of courses. At the another option is then to make the description something like, this is for office use only, test course, just so that if anybody does come across it, or any of your other level ones or admin people come across it, they know that this is not a genuine course. You would need to include a start date and a finish date, and start time and finish time. The rest of the detail doesn't really matter very much. So I set one up here, and I've called it 20ZZZ01 and course for testing. Didn't worry about putting in a a parent code, frequency, but I've put in a tutor, given it a type, given it a venue, given it the start date, finish date, and start time, finish time. This is going down this path that we're doing at the moment is also a means of actually establishing what happens if I create a fee for a course. How does that work? If you've never done that before, then go in and create the fee for this particular course. Put in $1, $10, $100, whatever, into the amount when you're setting it up. And then consider how many enrollments you might want. Typically, I wouldn't have normally maximum of 20. I would probably have 2 or 3, because that then allows you to use some dummy members to enroll those dummy members into this course, see what happens when it gets to the wait list. Then when you've got somebody on the wait list, then you can use that to simulate, how do I get that person from the wait list back into the course? And does the course continue to show maximum and full course if I take somebody out? Or what does it do? So you can do those sorts of scenarios. An important thing though is that when you create this new course, edit it and go in and make sure it's for administrators only. So then members won't see it. So any member wandering through won't see this particular course. They can't enroll in it, but they won't see it. But your other administrators and level 1 people will see it. Now I'll just stop for a second because I've got a chat message here. Oh yes, sorry, I can mute everybody. I have the ability to mute everybody here somewhere, so that we don't get all the background noise. Now I'm in sharing at the moment. I've got to work out how to do that. I should know how to do it, shouldn't I? I'm going to stop the sharing for a second.
Just click on your participants.
That's right. Click on participants.
Yeah, no, I need to, because I'm sharing, I don't get that. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And now I'm going to go in and mute everybody. Oops. It's not muting everybody. What's going on? Hang on. Yes. Okay. Back to where we were. And I think we jumped the gun a fair bit. Okay, so yeah, make sure that the course is for admin only, so that people don't stumble across it. Okay. Now, I've just got a couple of scenarios that I can work through here. And one of them is we can simulate a function available to a particular security level. The second one is how to train somebody in the enrolment and payment process. Let's see what the chat is about. Oops. Once a course is approved, who creates the course in UMass? Once a course is approved, who creates? So Chris has asked about who, once a course is approved, who creates the course in UMass? It's a policy function. What does each U3A want to achieve? Who do they want to give that responsibility to in the U3A? So, for example, normally I would imagine that courses are set up by the course coordinator. So the course, so maybe the committee's got to approve certain courses. The course coordinator would establish that, and then it's open for enrolments under normal conditions. I think that was the query. Okay. And as I mentioned earlier, you can also experiment with waitlist management. Now, I haven't got that as part of my steps today, but nevertheless, we can go in and we can simulate that in real life if we need to. So the first function, where we want to actually simulate a particular access level. So you log in as the admin or tier 1, and you can then change the security level at the bottom of the member details screen to whatever level. Now I've suggested today, let's do it level 5. Level 5 is a treasurer function. Now, then you would log out. You would then log back in with that dummy member number and their password, not the admin password. And then you would scroll through the functions that treasurer function can achieve, because you're now logged in simulating the treasurer access. So you would find that the treasurer doesn't have access to certain reports, but has access to some course reports, but has access to all the financial tab reports. So then you can see, hey, can the treasurer access enrolments? Can they create an attendance list? And you would probably be able to say no. And why would they want or need to do that? So actually going in at that level and just simulating it and testing it for yourself. The other reason that you might need to do this is because, let's say the treasurer has come to you and said, hey, when I log in, I can't do this. Now, often that's because they've talked to their compatriot and they've got different level access and they can do something. Why can't he or she do that? And you might have to just say to them that, no, that's what your level does as you under your role. The other thing that becomes difficult in a U3A is that often we wear different hats, multiple hats. So the treasurer might also be a tutor. The treasurer might also be course coordinator. So we take different hats on and off. So it would be inappropriate to give the treasurer level 5 if they were also the course coordinator, or if they were also the membership management person. They would need level 1 to be able to do all the functions that they need at that level. So it's a matter of really understanding what it is that they need. And from a basic security principle, you give people access only to achieve what level they need to do their role. Now, if they've got multiple roles, then you need to actually assess that separately. Once you've assessed those levels and you're happy with that, then you just log out and you can leave that as it was. I'm just going to check the chats here, see while we're going. And Jim, what if the treasurer is also okay? Yes, okay. So Jim's just raised exactly the issue I just talked about. The multiple hats that we have within the U3A is not uncommon. That people have different roles. Okay, so let's say now we want to be able to show somebody, a new person who's coming on, how the enrolment and the payment process works. So give that person whatever access they need, and it's usually at this person is doing that. It'll probably be at level 1, unless they're the treasurer only. Log in as that member number, enroll in the course or one or more courses, confirm that selection. On return to the member details, the pay invoice button will be visible. It's a blue button. And then you can click on that and see what the member would see in terms of bringing up the invoice. But if you've got the appropriate access at level 1 access, then you can, or treasurer access, then you can edit the subscription field and enter the amount that the member has paid. So they might have come into the office, simulate coming into the office with their $50 or whatever it is. They might have sent a check in the mail. They might have sent money through the EFT process to the bank. And so hence, once that once that money has been received, you need then to go in and indicate that this member has paid. That will then activate the member. Once you've done these functions and gone through that process, then just log out from that area. So still on this process, continuing on this this process, then once you've actually gone through, sorry, the first part there I was talking about was actually go in and just get to the point where the member is enrolled in a course. They've got a payment due. Then you would need to go in as admin on level 1. I think I jumped into this same slide while I was talking, and edit to the right hand side of the screen. Indicate that they've paid the amount of money that was due, and then this particular dummy member will be made active. Now then, this is one situation in which you might need to use the green buttons at the bottom of the member details to make the member inactive, not active, because this dummy member now is part of your membership system and would be classified as an active member in your system. So to keep the membership numbers on an even keel, then and keep them correct, then just make this member not active. Now there's a bit of a trick to that. If you go in using the green button and make that member not active, it as I said here, it will artificially inflate your member numbers, but it also indicates, it'll actually have a subscription expiry date of the date of which they, it could have a subscription expiry date the day that they are taken out of the system, or it could be the end of the subscription range, which might be the 31st of the 12th, 2020. If you try to activate that member again, or go and use that same member to log into or enroll in a new course and generate a subscription, it won't do it because the subscription expiry date says they've already got a subscription which is active. A little bit tricky, but you need to go into the edit and change that subscription expiry date back to, I think my next slide talks about that. You change the subscription expiry date back to outside your subscription range. So in the case here, we would change it to, say, 1st of the 12th, 2019, the 31st of the 12th, 2019, if your subscription range is from the 1st of January to the 31st of December, 2020, using that as an example. That will then indicate to the system that this member is still not, doesn't have a valid expiry date, and it's outside the range of the subscription range, and so hence it will then generate the new fee for that member type. Now that a lot of you might not have actually come across that, so has anybody got any problems with that particular issue? Okay. Now, I'm happy to go in a second and we can actually look at some demonstrations of some of these things and do them live. But I want to go through a process here where if you feel brave enough and you're comfortable enough with how the system works, then you may well want to create some dummy members outside your normal sequence. So using the example that I started off with, where we create a brand new dummy member. So we go in and add a member. That member will be automatically created and given the member number that is next in the list. So if you go into your system settings and defaults, it'll tell you what the last member number is. You will be allocated the next number in the list. Now, if you don't particularly want to do that, and there's no reason why there's anything wrong with doing that, but if you didn't want to do that, then you can go and create a sequence of numbers that are in a separate range altogether. So I've suggested over on the right hand side here, maybe you could start off with 90000 or 001. So which is probably outside of anybody's U3A member number range. And you could have then 1, 2, 90001 to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever number you create. You would have to create them all one at a time. The way you do that is to go into firstly take the database offline, because what you're doing here is going to affect anybody else that might be using the system at the time to actually enroll a new member. So any new member that enrolls while you are doing this through this process, then they may well be given the wrong member number. So take the database offline, wait a few minutes to make sure nobody's playing with the system. Record the last member number. So in system settings, you'll see the last member number here in my case is 2106. Just write it down. Then change your member number here to be whatever the next member number you want to create for your dummy member. So in my case, on the right hand side here, it's 90001. I have to move everybody out of the way. You would then put that 90001 into that field there and save it. Then add your new members in the normal way. The next number is going to be 90002. Add another one, 90003, etc. Once you've done that and you've got a sequence of numbers, then you would restore the last member number to whatever that was previously. In my case, 20106, that's what I've written down. Make sure I write it down, don't remember it. And then save that and then restore the database to active. Then you can do a search for those members. 9001, search for them, and you can simulate using those. Now, the other reason that you might want to do that is, for example, we have set up our office volunteers. Each of them has a out-of-sequence member number that when they are in the office, they use that particular member number, and they don't log in as their own member details. And that member is given level access level 1, and by procedure, they can only use that when they're in the office and running that role. So I've actually made them 501, 502, 503, etc. So there's 6 of them, or 7, and they log in as that when they're in the office performing that particular duty. And that means that I don't have to give them level 1 or set up a common member number for them in the office. So there's various reasons why you might want to do it. Let me just, whoops, I'm trying to get to the chat, which is a bit tricky to get to. Do you need to be a level 1 to enroll members? You can enroll, Richard has asked, do you need to be a level 1 to enroll members? And the answer is no. Let me just put Francis in here. any member can enroll in any class. So you don't have to be at level 1. You need to be at level 1 to be able to do things like indicate that they've paid, or level 5 will do that. Take them off, remove them from a class, things like that. So no, you don't have to be at level 1 to enroll. Lee, we have a problem with people enrolling and attending classes but not paying subscription. Okay, so Lee, not paying a subscription, there is a report that will identify who hasn't paid a subscription, and you can chase them up. We, from experience, we don't have very many people that do that. But hey, I've heard yesterday that there are some people who just think that because they were enrolled last year, they just keep rocking up to a class next year as well. How do you take the database offline? From Tony. Database is taken offline by the system administrator, and maybe it might be time to just go in and simulate some of these things. Okay. And I'll go into, I'll use Whittlesey. I'm logged into Whittlesey, system settings, and so database control. Now I'm logged in as administrator. The administrator is the only person who can take the database offline or access system settings or the miscellaneous. So the database is taken offline using the database control. And there is a bit of a trap to it in that you take the database offline by clicking the take offline twice. It will toggle between active to offline, take it offline again twice, or you rotate basically around this process. So you go active, offline, inactive, back to active. Now, I'm logged into a test system as well. So let's have a look at, we'll do that in the test system rather than on the production system, and we'll just do it. Okay, so the database is online here, it's active. I click once, I click twice, and the database is now offline. So a member who wants to come into or log into the system will now be presented with a message that says the database is offline for maintenance purposes. You can also go into the messages in system settings messages and add a message to the welcome screen that says why you've got the database offline. And it may be at the end of the year. We're preparing for courses for the 2021. The database will be reactivated at 10 AM on the 6th of December. And you can put that message in there as well. You can put in red and bold and make it large as well, so that members know when the database will be back online again. And that's probably the only time that most people have to take the database offline, apart from that process that we talked about a second ago. If I click it again and click it again, then we'll go to inactive. Now, inactive means that only the system administrator can get access. So in offline, systems administrator and tier 1 people can get access. So at the end of the year, when you're preparing courses, you may want your course coordinator and your system administrator to be able to get access to the system, but not ordinary members or others. So I'll put it back to active again. So I don't know whether that was clear and obvious to people, but I describe it as it's not a double click that you would use on a keyboard or a mouse. It is a click and then a click, okay? And it's on this particular button here, not the button above it. So that's the database offline. What else was there that was raised about who can enroll? Well, I think that was okay. Let me go into, I'm going to use Whittlesey. Go back to Whittlesey and I'm going to search for a member that I set up previously, 15026. Oh, search, you idiot. 15026. So this member here has test in his surname. Obviously some dummy data here. He's been a bean picker in the past, and he's not active. It is a he. Yep, it is a he. If I go into the edit member details, I can see a couple of things that are important here. The access security level that he has access to is this one in particular, is level 5. So level 5 we know is the treasurer. Also the subs expiry date. Now the subs expiry date is a funny field in that if everything is working perfectly and members are enrolled in a normal fashion, then the subs expiry date will be within the subs expiry range. 1st of January usually to the 31st of December for most people. There are a couple that are doing financial year rollovers, but you can interpret that. In this particular case, the subs expiry date for Fred is 2018. So if I wanted to enroll Fred into a course, then it should generate a fee if he's a full member. It should generate a fee according to the member type that he's got access to or he's been given. If the subscription range was within, within the current subs expiry date was within the current subscription range, it would say, hey, you're already you've already paid a fee, then I'm not going to charge you again. That's the theory behind it. Okay, so we've got a few questions, so I'll stop a second and just go through and have a look at the chats. I've got to find them. There we go. Okay, so oh, Anna said we've got a member whose name is actually Test. Okay, well, think of something else. What a trap. And Chris has said here, what is course coordinator's actual security level? Okay, so my recommendation for course coordinator is that they have level 1. They typically are interfacing with members, interfacing with tutors, and developing courses. Now, you may well have a separate membership coordinator, but there's a bit of an overlap at different times. My recommendation is that course coordinators are given level 1, membership coordinators level 1, and then from then on you work out what do people need. Level 2 gives you generally access to membership, but not the ability to be able to change course details or add courses. And so hence in the past, I've actually given that to people like presidents who might want to, but they're not at the course coordinator level, but the president may well want to and need to contact members. So they need to be able to search for a member, find the member, get their member details, email them, or phone them up. So that would be where there's a level 3 that is intended. It's called reception. It's intended for somebody at the reception desk when somebody walks in, asks the question, what courses are on today? Can I enroll? Is this class full? They can go through all of that process, but they can't do all the level 1 things. Okay. Now, Jim, call me a bit more carefully next time. So Jim. Oh, how do you share your whole screen? I see. I don't see that option. Okay, so Jim's worked it out. Thank you. All right. Now, Tony, did we answer your question? No, we've done that. Yes. Just see if I show as well. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. So John has asked if when we send the recording, are we able to send a slideshow as well? Yes, I can do that with both. Okay. Okay. Good. I think we've got to the questions. All right. So, so now if I've got Fred now as level 5, if I log out and log in. His member number is 15026. I set a password that I remember for him, and I'm going to log in as Fred. With his member number. Okay, so he doesn't have access at the system admin level. He's got access to his own member details. He can edit some of his member details. He can't edit above the top line. Only admin and level 1 can do that in there. He can enroll in courses. So if a course is available, he can enroll in a course. And he can search for members. So that might be because the treasurer has received some funding in the bank and he's looking for member blah, 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 needs to find that member so that he can then go and indicate that that member has actually paid that fee. And then that member would become active. Okay. He also has access to some reports. Come on. He doesn't get access to members. He doesn't get access to subscription. He gets access to a couple of things in the courses area, but they're not things he can change. He can just literally run a report. He gets, I thought he doesn't get anything in there, but financials he does. So he gets all his financial reports. So if he's wanting to print reports or find reports, say from last financial year, 1st of July through to June, end of June this year, then he could produce his report that way, and he can do the same thing in CSV so that he can do a comparison of his reports. So then he would get his total at the end here, and he could compare that with his membership records in MyOb or his accounting system. Okay, so the treasurer can do that. Level 1 can get access to this report, and administrator can get access to this report as well. So now, and similarly, if I go and search, let me go and search for another member, 140330. Okay, so our level 5 person has gone through and done what he needs to do, logs out, and then you can go back and simulate something else. Okay, let's just catch up with the chats again, and so no, Andy, no, about the password, no, it wouldn't have shown the password because Kaspersky won't be it. So I'm okay with that. Yep. You'll be able to cut out the video. Yep, and leave the audio. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So Lynn's actually saying you can cut out the video section and just leave the audio and continue through. Okay, very good.
That's what I'd do for you.
Okay. I haven't. Yep, good. Thank you. All right, I haven't got the patience to do that. But anyway, appreciate it. Okay, so now look. Hopefully that's been useful. I'm happy to simulate something else. I won't use Whittlesey. And if anybody's got any questions apart from that, then it's really a matter of you trying it yourself. I know that a lot of you people that are actually joining today have actually used this process or used parts of this where we've got somebody who we've simulated. It may actually be your own self. You might have simulated what can a level 3 do using your particular details. You log in with your member details, you can simulate it. You don't need to have a dummy member to do that. It is useful to have a dummy member so that you leave your member detail, most people here would be a level 1, I would imagine, so that you don't change your access level to level 4, for example, to simulate what a tutor can do or see, and then come back as admin, because then for some quirk in the system, it restricts some of the things that an admin can do because it says, oh, you're partly level 4. So keep that at level 1 and play with a particular member. Another thing that that I've been doing for a while is when we've had duplicate members join, they generate a new member number, and you know that they've got a previous member number. They've probably been given a warning at the when they log in as a new member, and it says, "Hey, you've probably got a record in the system. Please contact the office," but it generates a new member number anyway. We haven't been able to stop that doing that in UMass, but in UMass for members, there's a very good system. It says if I've detected what could be a duplicate member record, then I'm not going to generate a new member number, and I'm not going to go any further until you've contacted the office. So we're not going to get these duplicate records as much in the future, but nevertheless, we probably all have them. And what I've done is I've made one of those duplicate records a test member. So I would then go and change, let's say we've got Mary Bloggs. Mary Bloggs is signed in. She's got 2 member records. I would make one of them Mary Test Blogs, and then I could use her as a test member in the past. In the future, I would, and the first thing I do is go in and change the password so that Mary can't get back into there. So that then she is then given the previous member number or the original member number that she had, but don't let her get back into the second record. You can then use that as one of these test members. So you could go through the whole system and see whether you've got duplicate records and get rid of them that way. On that basis, it's a bit of a side issue, but I never delete a member record. So if you've got a duplicate, don't delete it, just reuse it for something else. Okay, so I'm just finalizing with the chats here, finishing off with the chats. Yeah, quick update on UMass for members. Okay, Tony's asked if we can have a bit of an update on UMass for members. I don't know whether Andrew's joined us. Are you there, Andrew? No, he's not. Okay, so I can do it. UMass for members is progressing very well. We're at a point where we're having a meeting on Monday where we're looking at deployment timeframes. We're probably about a week away or 2, maybe max, for having it released to a couple of sites as beta test sites. And then we would progressively roll it out after that. So the process that we're looking at is with the next version, UMass will go to version 6.0 and everybody will be upgraded to 6.0, and then progressively we will implement the UMass for members one at a time, because the first time around there is some work that needs to be done in cPanel, access to files that needs to be done the first time we do the upgrade. So it needs help and from one of us in the support team, or Peter Lazarus, or Jeff Kidd from the website template team, or Peter Brooks or Jasmine Higgs on the developer team. It's going to need one of them to actually set up the configuration to start with. So we'll do them one at a time, and you know, when people are ready. But UMass itself will be upgraded to version 6 with its normal bug fixes and some minor enhancements within the next few weeks, and then progressively roll out the rest. Okay, so that's UMass for members. Now I've lost my chat level where I was at. Where was it? Oh, we've had a few more come in. Okay. Bruce, we use duplicated member numbers by assigning them a new member done at the office rather than online. Yeah. Okay. So Bruce is proposing a process there where you can, if you've got a duplicate member number and someone comes into the office to sign up as a brand new member, then you could overwrite that dummy duplicate record with a new member, and that's fair enough too. Yeah. So you don't actually have any gaps in your membership number system. That's fine. How about courses associated with the second record? Tony, courses associated with the second record. What are you getting at there? Tony, do you want to unmute yourself and just describe what you're...
Sorry, my spacebar didn't seem to be doing the job.
Okay.
If you might have courses associated with the second record, so you would have to...
Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry. Yes, I'm with you now. So the duplicate, the duplicate record. Yes. And so the member has been a member in the past. They've signed up as a new member. They've allocated courses. You have to manually change those course enrollments to the other one, or vice versa. So I just manually change them around. It doesn't happen all that often, but it does happen. Yes. So hopefully with UMass for members, it's going to happen very infrequently, because the process will stop them at the gate. The challenge becomes when the member is actually paid with PayPal, because you can't transfer the PayPal record to the previous record number, member number. So you need to leave it at the latest record number. But you can always put notes in to the system to say that this member has a previous record. We've transferred the courses to there, but the payment is recorded against this one. Go back into the previous one, put a note in there to say this member paid with PayPal through this member number. So you've got a sort of an audit trail as to why it's happened. And I've had one member that every year signs up as a brand new member, no matter how many times you tell them. Okay. Mike's asking, is it possible to set up a completely separate test system? Yes, it is, but there's quite a significant fee involved. And I would suggest that for a small U3A, that would be probably right out of the system, right out of the question. What do you suggest for full members who are also reception volunteers? So we've got a full member who is also a reception volunteer and a tutor. Okay, that's a challenging one. Reception will not allow them to, So reception will give them access to different members' details, but they won't be able to look at course enrollments, I think. We can simulate that if you like, but a tutor will want to see their enrollments. A bit of a challenging one, that one. That's from Glen Iris. So let's go in and have a look at that. Let's say, who am I logged in as?
Kevin, I'm pretty sure level 3 will give you access to course enrollments.
Course enrollments. Okay, thanks, Bruce. Yeah, I can't remember. We don't use level 3 ourselves, but if it does, then that's good. Okay, all right. So we don't need to worry about that. But also, this is probably the process by which you'd go through and just test it out. What can reception do, and does that suit the tutor to access their class details? Because under reception, they'll probably be given access to all classes. And that's fine, because
one way we do it, Kevin, is we actually have a single member number with level 3, and every receptionist at the front desk actually logs in as that person, not as themselves. That way they get the level 3 and they have their own personal number with their limited access.
Yes, yes. And that's really what I was describing for our office people before, that they have a separate member number when they're in the office. That gives them access to do what they need to do, but their ordinary record, if they were a tutor, gives them access to their tutor records, their membership. Yep, membership enrollments. Okay, yep. Okay, so there's ways around it. Now, what is the harm in deleting a member record? Okay, so Trevor's asked, what is the harm in deleting a member record, a duplicate record? There is probably no harm. It's just some background that I have that says you never go and delete a record. That's all. But you can delete a record. The value in not deleting them is you can do what Bruce was describing before. You can actually enroll a new member in that duplicate record number so that you continue. If you delete the record, you can't do that. Well, You can, but no, you can't. Okay. Cross-reference, just cross-reference the numbers. Seeing what do you've got here, a message about cross-referencing the numbers. Is
Yeah,
it member
sorry,
numbers?
I was just talking about the new a member who's who what's called re-enroll with a new member number. So if you want to just close off the other number, you make cross-references like PayPal payments or
yes,
whatever.
That's it. Yep.
And,
yep,
and
yep.
like, that's what I meant. That's
Okay,
what I
okay.
used to do.
Yes. And that's probably what I was describing a second ago about putting a note into the field in both the records.
Just say refer to that number.
Yep, that's right.
That's all.
That's right. Yes, and that gets you out of the problem. Yeah, but as I say, hopefully we won't get as many of these in the future. Okay, so Lynn's asked, do most U3As use level 4 for conveners? Well, level 4 is the level that is automatically allocated for conveners tutors. That gives them access to their particular course. And so, Lynn, is there a reason why you're asking that particular? That's the level that level 4 would be given. However, if your tutor is also a course coordinator or a administration person, then they would need level 1, and they can do all they need to do as a tutor and more. Okay. Do most use level 4 for conveners? They can't email members. Okay. Oh, I didn't read that bit before. They can't email the members. They can email their class. Yeah. So the function for to email all members should really be a coordinated function, something like a person responsible for communications, whether it be a formal role or whether it's an informal role, but whoever's responsible for sending messages out, you shouldn't have every Tom, Dick and Harry in the system sending messages to all members. And at Box Hill they're using level 7 for tutors, which gives them additional access. And why do you use level 7? Level 7 gives the tutor access to enroll people in their classes and move them from waitlist. Can they, Jim or Singh, can the level 7 remove a member from the class? Senior.
Yes.
They can. Okay. We strongly recommend you don't do that. But if that's the way you've been operating, then that's fine.
No, we don't. It's all deletions come through us.
Okay. Yeah. Centralized deletions. Yes, that's what I'm suggesting. Yes. But they can accept. I think there's level 7 can accept somebody from the wait list. Yeah. The thinking behind that was actually created more for very small U3As that don't have a course coordinator, where basically the couple of course tutors have to manage everything themselves. The risk that you've got there is that tutors can favour individuals, whereas it should really be more a rule-based enrolment process rather than tutors having their friends enrolled. And I'm not saying that would be the case here, but the tutors can always lobby the course coordinator, can't they?
Graft and corruption.
Sorry?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, guys. So look, is there anything else that we want to do now? Because I think we've probably covered most of them. I'm happy. I'm happy if people want to continue on with something, keep going. Yeah.
Okay, Kevin, Pete Massey here. I was just wondering, we haven't released our access general to members yet, to UMass, but how do they get their password in the first place, or can they? It's automatically create. Can they get in if they enroll or go to a course or something, or become a member? Can people automatically get in the default sort of settings we've got?
Okay, now Peter, I've just had that same discussion yesterday with, I mean, I think we've got some people from Hobson's Bay today, because they're not far behind you, and they're looking at how they release the system to members. The process is basically around sending an email to members to say to them, hey, we have a new membership system. This is your member number, because you can put that into the variable within the email. And this is how you log into the system. You go through our website, you click on member login, and this is how you reset your password. And you can make a comment that, in your case, Peter, and from Hobson's Bay and all new U3As, that when we upload a list of members into the system for the first time, we automatically generate a computer-generated random password for every member. So I don't know what it is. They don't know what it is, but as a member, they can reset it by putting in their member number, their surname, and an email will be sent to the email that we've got reported in the system, and then they can reset the password, and then they can log in. So the first time around, they need to do that reset of the password. From then on, they should be able to just go in, log in, put their member number in and their password, and away they go. So from Peter's up at Albu Wodonga, Peter and Tony, and I think Rod's still there too. The process there, we're actually going to have a meeting. I'm having a meeting with Hobson's Bay on Monday afternoon about that process. And I think we're going to try to refine the wording and maybe document it somewhere, because somebody gave me some documentation. It might have been the Sunbury people. And if they've still got it, then please let me know. And then we won't have to start from scratch. But hey, once we've got something documented, we can use that for other U3As that are coming on board, and you can modify it for your own purposes. But yeah, Albu Wodonga, you're in very similar position to Hobson's Bay and a couple of others. I think Ball, have they gone live with members yet? John or Robin? Or
Yes.
Steph? They have. Okay, good. Okay, yeah. So just keeping up with the other groups. But yeah, so anyway, but the process for retrieving a password is the same as it's been now for a little while. I have forgot go into the we're actually log out, log in, move that out of the way. I have forgotten my password. Oh, the test system. Let me. Okay, dummy system. Whittlesey system. I have forgotten my password. Okay, member number 14030, and this doesn't really matter much. And it will send an email to that particular email address because that's what it's got logged in nice for me. I'm not worried about that being personal or risky. When I go in to retrieve that email, when I go in to look for that email, then here's my email. And I click here to reset the password, and I've reset my password there, confirm the password there, click to reset the password and log in with that password. Okay. Now a member can do that as many times as they like. So if they log in and it doesn't log in for them, but they previously did, then they might have written it down incorrectly or their memory might have faded. They can just say, I've forgotten my password. And it will go in and reset the password for them. Okay. In the member UMass for members, resetting a password is very similar as well. I think it uses a different process. Okay. I'm just catching up with the chats as they're coming in. Level 4 could not email their class. No, level four can email their classes, definitely can. But only their class or classes. So they can only if they're a tutor of maybe 2 classes or 3 classes, then they can email their class one by one, but they get a list of their classes only. Because data in all systems is often up to date. We don't have all members set with members from scratch. Okay, so the old system's not up to date. Yeah. So Dennis is saying here about his data in old systems. I'm assuming that this is from a previous system, Dennis.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Okay. And so hence you're still, do you actually go out to your members and sort of ask them, particularly at enrolment time, can you just check that all your member details are correct and update them if necessary?
We haven't done that. We've been going, about 4 years now, but yes, that would be a good idea to ask them to do that. I agree.
Because you could actually create an email with the variables. I logged in, I'm not logged in here, with the variables. So I'll go in. Okay, this is a test system, so we're okay. And we go into emails. And so you could create a email using a lot of these variables. So you could create an email that says, dear preferred name. So it'll come up with Dear Mary. We have records, your member number is such and such, member number. We have your details as having emergency contact this, emergency contact number this, your phone number is this, so, and your street name is this. Are these correct? And if not, then please go in and log into the system and update your records. Or you could be more generic than that and say, hey, dear preferred name, your member number is such and such. Could you please log into the membership system? And if you haven't logged in before, you'll need to reset your password. And here's how you reset your password. And just check that all your details are correct.
Yes, fair enough. It's just that often in legacy systems, there can be, people can have changed their address, etc. Phone numbers, and we found that it was rather than try and correct that as we went along, ask people to create a membership number in the new system and start from scratch, and that worked well.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you've actually, you've actually overcome the problem by just getting it all from scratch, starting from scratch, essentially. Yeah, not importing old data that's a bit dubious. We
imported no data at all.
Okay. So you started from scratch. Okay, and that's a good way to go. Most all the groups that I've worked with, we've actually started with something, but usually they've gone and just checked the data before we load it. And in other cases, in fact, I think I hope Thompson's don't mind me saying this because it's used in other cases as well. They might not have known the year of birth of a particular member. They probably weren't recording it previously or didn't record it from the beginning, so they didn't have that. We've put in a dummy year of birth and suggest when you get the members to log in, just check that their year of birth is correct and update it. So we put in a dummy one. I think we were looking at yesterday at 19. 3 or 4 members who didn't have a year of birth, we put them in as 1910 as their year of birth. Now, as soon as you open up that member record, it stands out. Are they still around? Are they attending classes? And so hence it's a bit of it's an opener. That's all. Okay, so let me catch up with some of the chats here. From Rod. Okay. So Rod, how do you ascertain what a member level of access is from their member details? Okay, if you have to be an administrator or level 1, and when you go, there's 2 ways to do this. Individually, I can go into the member detail, I can edit the member details, and I can go down to the bottom and I can say, this person is level 1. If you want to know all up, there's a report that tells you everybody who is on anything higher than level 0. So in the reports, in members reports, there's a report that says list member security. Okay, so in our system here, we've got, and this is a test system, it's all over the place. We've got a lot of people here who are at different levels. And some of these have been imported from different systems over years, and you know, we don't use some of them. So this system needs to be cleaned up completely. Okay, where else was it?
Basically, you're telling me that I can't see that detail because of my level of access. Yes.
Okay. And I don't know whether you were in the data privacy workshop a little while ago, but I made a comment or a suggestion there that that anybody that has access at above level 0, which is an ordinary member, is approved by the committee. Now, because you've got a lot of tutors, then I just list them as any tutor who is allocated a tutor record is given level 4. But then I get the committee to authorise any person who is at admin level, and we document it, we write their names down in a policy, in a procedure document, level 1 access, admin, level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 5 in our case, who they are, and if that role changes, then we, who's the new person, and then have we rescinded that access for that person. So we get the committee to approve that policy. And I've got a, and in fact, is Chris around? Chris still here? No, you might have gone. Chris from Network Office was asked me.
Still around.
Oh, good, Chris. Were you going to publish that anonymised security policy on the network website?
Yes, that's one of our things to do. Yes,
it's one of the things to do. Okay, so Rod, I can actually send you, if I remember, send you an anonymised procedure that we use for that, so that then we basically make sure that that we're on top of who's got access to what level, and you can use that. And say the system administrator could once a month before the committee meeting, but just make sure that nobody is snuck in there. And you know, in my case, it may well be that I've gone and got one of my dummy members, I've given them level access at level 1, and they snuck in there, and I need to go and remove it. It's a good opportunity to just refresh it.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, okay, John, you've got a message that you sent out. Thank you. If you would mind, I'd like to collect that, because mostly it's done within the U3A when they're when they're advising their members that they have a new system. It's done within the U3A, and I typically don't sort of see that message. But if I can get from either yourself, John, or someone up at Sunbury, because I think you did it up there, for the people that are at Albury-Wodonga and Hobson's Bay, and anybody else new. I think Dandenong might be in a similar position as well, about to go live. So we've got a few that are coming on board. That'll be good. Okay. Anne's got an issue here. I'd like to address this one. We have found that if a tutor has a preferred name in their record and they are on level 4, they can't access their class reports. We just took out the preferred name and it works fine. Okay, that's a bug in the system. And last version 4, where are we on? 5.48 at the moment. In 5.47, we thought we fixed that, but we only fixed half of it. In 6.0, we've actually fixed a lot. So now what used to happen is that if you had a tutor and the tutor went and changed their preferred name, then the tutor record, where the listing of all the tutors is, did not record correctly the new preferred name. When you go into the course, it said, I don't know, there's no tutor here allocated. And so now in version 6, I've been testing that thoroughly, that when it's released, you can confidently, says I, go through, change a tutor preferred name. It will automatically update in the tutor record. It will automatically update in the course listing, and everything should work perfectly. It's been an ongoing bug for a while, and we've tackled it bit by bit over a couple of years now. Okay. Yes. 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 So hopefully, yes. So there's a bit of talk there about the tutor records and duplicate records with and without a preferred name. Hopefully that's behind us. And also you would have noticed that when you change the record, and in fact that won't do it in here. I'm in the test system at the moment. If you've got a tutor member type and you've got a tutor record and you save the tutor the member details, it will come up with a pop-up to say this member has a tutor record. You might need to go back in and check that they're listed correctly in the tutor table and the course listing. That was our way of, or Peter Brooks's way of getting around the thing that wasn't working. That pop-up should now be removed. It shouldn't be necessary, and so hence it's removed. The same thing happens if the tutor changes their email address, but it's probably not as common that people change email addresses. Can be done, but not as common. It's more frequent that they might change or add a preferred name because they never had one there, but they've got now a field that they've seen that, hey, I can put my preferred name in there, and so they do it. And so there's nothing that there's nothing that sort of indicates to them that this is not working very well. Okay, so where are we at the moment? Yes. Yep. So is there a place where current UMass manuals are available? Yes, they're on the network website. Network website's a little bit tricky to manipulate. But let's go through and have a look.
Come on, Kevin, it's perfect website.
I got to remember every time I go in here, where is the damn thing? I think it's under resources. I've done it a few times now. Resources, committees, no, tutors, administration. I think it might be administration. Business processes. I don't remember. Yep, that's it. Yep. Hey, I'm doing well. Okay. So we have 3 manuals here for UMass. A manual for members, a members for office bearers, and for volunteers and tutors. Now the volunteers are allocated volunteers used in the volunteer module, which we haven't discussed at the moment, and I don't use very often. Now these manuals, the 3 manuals, are written for version 5.47. There weren't all that many changes to those manuals for 5.48, so we didn't go through the process of updating them. But we will be looking at updating them for version 6, because then that gets into the area where we now need not only to use UMass in its standard form, call it core UMass, but we've got some new reports, we've got some new features, and we've got that tutor fix. Those sorts of things are going to be used by most of the people that are joining here today. But ordinary members will use the UMass for members, and it's a different process, a different system, and it will have its own manual. So we're looking at manual updates, but hey, these manuals might be useful. There used to be a login password for this, but that's been removed now. So you've just got to be able to struggle through the different layers to find it. So if I take that there and copy that, then maybe you people can do that yourselves. So it's under business just search for business process and technology. I think, I don't know if you do a search for UMass, does it come up, Anne? Can you do?
I haven't tried, Kevin. Don't know.
No. Is there a search? Yes, there is. Let's go for UMass. No results. No. Oh, hang on. Something's happened. No. Oh, it's come up with also. It's gone into all sorts of other errors. Okay, so it's come up with that at the top. Okay, so it does actually get you there in a roundabout way. Okay. Okay, make sure.
And Kevin, I'll just take a second. Still is a password protected part of this website for things like minutes and council notes and things like that. And a password, I try to advertise it when I can, is still learning.
Yeah. Okay. Lowercase. Or lowercase. Yeah. Yep. All right. So this is not password protected. I think it used to be behind the password, but it's not anymore. And there's nothing there that's sensitive. So you could go through reading those there PDFs. They're actually written nicely. Young Jasmine, who has been the key person and the key player in the UMass for members, has written these. So nicely laid out, better than the admin manual. And it does give you how to functions and how to do this and how to do that better than, well, the admin manual just doesn't do that. It just tells you this is what it does. And then you got to work out how I want to use it for myself. So it gives you, because it's got to be generic, it will give you some U3As do this and some U3As might do this, but it might not capture everything that your U3A does. Okay, but they're nicely written, and we're very proud of these. Okay. Yeah, so Jim would like the font size to be in a large size. Well, yeah. Okay, Jim. I can understand your point there, but I just increase
Control plus.
Control plus, and away you go. How large would you like it? Yeah. All right. And control.
I think the print size. Sorry, Kevin. The print size for these, I'm pretty sure, is Arial 12.
12,
which is
yeah. Which is
optimal for
old people.
I wasn't going to say that,
So,
but
oh, Jim didn't hold back. Okay, so somewhere he's referring to something that's actually in 9 point. I'm not too sure. Jim, it's obviously not these manuals. Is it the admin manual? You might be muted, Jim, if you're there still. Let's have a look at, hang on, let's go back into here and go back into here, get the admin manual. So the admin manual may well be smallish. Don't know, it's still loading.
There was something that came around that was in 9 point, and I tried to, it was a PDF, and I tried to, it's fine on the screen, but most people will use it as a printed manual, and printed 9 points is too small.
Okay, yeah, I agree. If it's printed in 9 point, yeah, that's a bit small. Okay, so I don't know what font size this is in. This is PDF. But in a as you say, on a screen, you can actually make it whatever size you want. But when you print it, it's different, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. I will keep an eye out for it, but I can't remember. And it sounds like you can't remember either, Jim, what it was. Yeah, we'll try and keep on top of that. Okay, guys. Well, how's all that? We've wandered around a bit, and that's pretty common for opening up a session where we deviate into other areas, and I'm very happy with doing that, because I think that that's probably really helps somebody else. If you've got a query, help somebody else. Sometimes I need to know myself, and I learn out of these exercises as well. So I'm going to stop sharing, and unless there's anything else, I thank you all. And next week now, Robin, you're going to run a session on the name badges.
Apparently, yes.
Apparently, yes. There's a whole lot of interest in name badges. So, so yes, because a lot of U3As, particularly when we start off, I suggest to them that we'll look at name badges down the track a bit, so we don't do everything all at once. And sometimes we don't get quite around to it, and then so this is a good opportunity. Let's look at the name badge functions. And there's a whole lot of other things we can do, but I think that we'll be getting close now to the release of UMass for members. I think we'll run probably some sessions, probably get Andrew Lockwood involved and run some sessions on the UMass for members so that we give you, even before you get involved, so that you get a feeling as to how it works. And once we've got a deployment strategy, then we'll start to work with you on how we're going to deploy it. And it shouldn't be difficult to deploy, but it does require some technical expertise just to get it going the first time. Okay. All right. Well,
excuse me, Kevin, is it next week or 2 weeks? I think it was August, wasn't it?
August the 7th.
For Robin.
That's 2 weeks, is it?
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. The 7th of August. Robin, is that right with you?
Yeah, that's even better.
Okay. Good to see. Okay, and look, I appreciate the suggestions of help or the help from Bobo and anybody else that can help me with what the message that they send out to their members. I think that would be nice. I'd like to actually try to capture something that we can put into a document that we can just reuse whenever it's necessary, or at least modify for reuse. And we're not starting from scratch every time. That's the benefit of having a team like this. We've all done something. We've all got some value that we can add into the system. Okay, well, I think we might close now. Oh, there's 2 chats here. Let me just check the chats before we go. Oh yeah, it's only, is it next? Yeah, 2 weeks time. Yep, okay. Well, thank you all, and we'll see you
Thank you.
in 2 weeks time, if not before.
Yep.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Kevin.